Right, welcome back. As you can see, my ATAT base is now glued inside my wooden base. As you know, the wooden doweling is 10mm thick, but the ATAT base is only about 5mm thick. So with my normal household filler, I put a layer of the filler inside my base to bring it up about halfway up the doweling, well, roughly, so I could match the top edge of my ATAT base to the top edge of the doweling. So once I let that layer of polyfiller dry, I sanded down in the centre and then glued my ATAT base into the centre. So I put a clamp here, a clamp here, a clamp here and a clamp here, my scissors clamps. And then I got my steel rule and then put a clamp there and a clamp there to hold the actual base down. And as you can see, it is now, the PVA is holding that down. In trouble being, I've actually now run out of polyfiller, so sometime this week either myself or my wife will actually go and pick me up another pot of filler so I can actually fill in the rest of the base so it's to the top edge of the both the doweling and the ATAT base. I've also, because you can see that the snow speeder base has got to come up slightly as well, so I'm going to have to put another layer in for my snow speeder base, and I've still got to glue that in. But my base is getting there slowly. Stay with me. Right, for those of you who are wondering, what's Wayne going to use for a tow cable? Well, I picked up this picture hanging kit a couple of weeks ago from Poundland, and you can see that it's got some picture hanger wiring, and it looks the same thickness as what I need to attach to the back of the snow speeder and round the legs. So hopefully that wire is going to work out a treat. Let's wait and see. Stay with me. Right, welcome back. As you can see, I've now filled in the base, the rest of it with the polyfiller. I got a couple of tin tubs from Poundland the other day. I've actually used the half of that tub to fill the rest of this in. Took 2 days to dry. You can see that I've also bedded the snow speeder base in there, and you can see the neck is ready to be for the snow speeder to be mounted onto it. And I've also actually made some imprints in the polyfiller with my ATAT feet. I don't know when I put the snow effect on if that's going to fill that in. As you can see, I haven't bothered sanding anything because it doesn't have to be perfect. So now I can mount my ATAT and get on with the rest of the snow and finally get this finished. Stay with me. Right, welcome back. I can happily say that my Bandai ATAT stroke Hoth diorama is all finished, and I'm really chuffed with the results. I can't believe how well this has turned out. Not bad at all. So here's the final reveal. Right, turning the flash on because I didn't want to blind myself. It's 6 o'clock at night. It's dark outside, and that light and my light from the roof is not giving me much light so you can see the detail. You can see that everything's all done now. When I left you, I just filled in the base with my polyfiller, let that dry, and then I glued the ATAT one side at a time with my glue. I got some industrial strength super glue and just glued it around the pegs and then pushed in the one side of the legs, and then I had to make a slight adjustment with the other legs because I tried to put them all in at one go and the one side kept popping out. So like I said, I made some adjustments to the legs and then let the one side dry and then glued around the pegs and let that dry, putting the feet down, and it's dried an absolute treat, and the legs are in the position I want. Once that was done, I then did my snow base, which, as you know, like on my ATST, I went with the cheap hairspray because I'd still got some left, and with my bicarbonate of soda. I had to do that inside in my porch, so I had to put my mask on because, like I said, the hairspray is very cheap and very pungent in smell. And then I got my little Cadbury's teaspoon and just made the uneven shapes and layers and mounds of the snow. As you can see, it's all uneven. It's quite a nice pattern actually, not too bad. I let that dry for an hour, and then with my hairspray again, just give it another coat with an even flow to stop it going all over the place. But the only trouble is, when I let that dry, it wasn't dry around the edges. It was very powdery, and it kept trying to, I could sweep it away with one of my brushes. So I just got my can of Citadel Purity Seal and went around the edges, and it's dried and hardened, and it's rock hard, and I'm well chuffed. Right, going to the snow speeder, you can see that I've took the neck out. You can see the neck hole there. When I was putting my hanging wire around, I noticed that the weight, the actual stiffness, not the weight, the stiffness of the wire actually supports the weight of the snow speeder. I was well chuffed, so it actually looks like it's flying. It's not camera trickery, it's underneath. Look, you can see that I'm putting my file underneath. If I just turn this around slightly, my file is underneath, as you can see. And if I just give that a quick tap, you can see that it's free moving. So basically, I drilled an hole there, as you can see, into the strut of the leg. I'm not sure if it's actually the right leg that Jensen was aiming at. Good shot, Jensen. So just drilled the hole, glued it in, and then wrapped it round a couple of times. But it kept trying to unravel itself because I haven't glued it. So what I've actually done is I'll say it could be a sewing technique. On the third pass around, I've actually tangled it slightly. I've gone from underneath to make it tangle slightly around the bottom there. So it would like give it a bit of stiffness and hold it. And I could actually pull on it and make it slightly tight without hurting the legs. And then round the front here, you can see that again I've gone underneath on the third pass. I think it's the third pass. Yeah. Is it? No, the fourth pass I should say. On the fourth pass, third pass that side, fourth pass this side. I've tangled it slightly by going underneath and then coming out, so the weight, the actual stiffness of the hanging wire would support the weight of the snow speeder. You can see, you can see there's some glue marks here. I've probably just got to touch that up. I drilled a hole 1.3 mil bit into the back of the snow speeder and then just shoved it in. I drilled in about just over a centimetre inside, and luckily it didn't unsnap the bottom part and the top half of the snow speeder apart. It just went in, and I've just put some glue in there, industrial strength super glue, and then left it dry, and then just topped it up again. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It actually does look like it's flying. Again, just give that a quick tap, you can see it moves. I'm well chuffed with that. Well chuffed indeed. Now with the ATST, basically what I've done is I've just PVA glued the feet to the base, let that dry, and then just went round the edges with the PVA. You can see the slight texture colour difference in the snow, but that ATST is solid. And like I said, just go around, you can see where I've wrapped around the legs. I think the wire might have been slightly a bit too thick, but it doesn't matter. I'm quite chuffed on how that's gone round. And I actually did study the film. Some people might say, Wayne, the tow cab was black. It wasn't, it was actually silver. So, right, now going on to back onto the ATAT, you can see that I've done all my weathering, where it looks like the water's dripped down. My water weathering basically. So I've done all that. I just did that with black wash. Basically I did 2 coats of black wash. I did the actual black wash to dirty the sides, and then I've just put a dribble of black wash underneath each opening, and then just went with my stipple brush and just went a couple of, you know, swift movements down to try and get it to look like it's dribbled. And it's actually gone down an absolute treat. I did it on the same on the legs as well. It probably doesn't show up as well on the legs. The legs doesn't look as weathered, but trust me, they are weathered, as you can see. Also, with the bicarbonate of soda as well, when I was spraying, I actually pressed the button down a bit quick, and it splattered all up the feet. But I actually quite like that effect where it splattered up the feet. Not bad at all. Screen round, you can see it splattered up the feet there. So you can see where when each leg lifts it up out of the snow, it's actually taking some of the snow with it. So not bad at all. Right, last but not least, I've actually put the guns in now. I did this last. I did all the weathering, I put all that on, and then put the guns in last. It was 3 parts. You got the main gun with the actual turret there, and then you got another piece that snaps into that, and then you got the shield. But what I didn't realise is, if you look on the plans, you got the 3 pieces there, or you've actually got number 31, which is complete. All you got to do is just put the shield in. I never looked at that at the time, so I could have saved myself the hassle of putting them together, but I don't mind. But like I said, I've put them in last. Be careful when you cut them off a screw, because as you can see, they're very, very thin. And I've just slotted them into place, because you know I filled the hole in with blue tack so none of the primer would get in. It was very, very easy to get in. Oh, I never noticed that. You can actually see with the flash, you can't see it without the flash, but you can see the redness of the front window. Just turn it slightly, you can see the redness. I never noticed that. But you'd only be able to see it with the flash. But what I've done is I've kept so if that does decide to start droop down, I've kept the neck, and I can just pop that back into place and then pop it into the bottom of the snow speeder. If it decides to droop, we'll see what happens over time. But I'm really chuffed on how everything has turned out, and that bloody hanging wire, absolutely fantastic, the way it's holding the weight of the snow speeder. Well, there it is, just one last look at her. And I've switched my flash off, so as usual, I'll put some stills on at the end of this. Hopefully I haven't bored you too much, and I'll see you fairly soon with my next build. Thank you very much for watching.